5 great mixtape progressive black men you should be following on social media. Some of these black males, ladies and gentlemen, you don't know them for their social justice and their leanings in progressive politics. You don't know them for that. You know them for maybe comedy, singing, and one other guy is pretty good in doing commentary on sports. But I'm gonna give it to you in the raw. This video, folks, is sponsored by none other than, guess who? Me. If you want to see me trade stocks every day at 9:30, come check me out. I'm unabridged. I'm at that point in my stock career where things are starting to take off. I'm being profitable. And if you like my system, when you come check me out, you can get a one-on-one with me right here. The first man in my lineup of progressive males you should be following on social media is none other than this brother right here, Eric fucking Benet. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with Eric Benet. I love him, don't get me wrong, because of his stances, his progressiveness, but I hate his ass because he can sing. This fucker could probably sing the draws off your wife. He could probably sing the panty draws off you guys' mothers who y'all are going to be celebrating Mother's Day tomorrow. He could do that. Now, here's the thing about all these men. The difference between them and Republican men. Republican men want you to think that their asses is tough. If they were so tough, why do they keep trying to block the rights of women? These men on this list, they believe in uplifting women because women are not a threat to them. These men on this list don't have to run around telling you they are a man's man because they just exude it. These men on this list all believe in apologizing. So let's get to Eric Benet and things he does on social media as we go through Black Progressive Male Mixtape, Volume 1.
Listen, of all the visual metaphors of cosmic irony, nothing beats the fact that whenever Donald Trump speaks, whatever he's saying, his mouth just naturally settles into the shape of a busted out asshole. It's so perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've got to check out my man Eric Benet. This dude, not only can he sing, so he's never going to be around me and any of my women, but he's funny as hell. And he believes in his heart that things should be equal for everybody. He believes in his heart women should have the right to choose. He believes in his heart that racism shouldn't be a thing. And I want you guys to go check out my man Eric Benet. His link and all the other men's link will be in the video description. Ladies, I haven't forgotten about y'all. There will be a Volume 2 mixtape of progressive women because you all let men not make no mistake. The most educated group of people in America are Black women. And guess what? Those Black women turned out more for the Democratic Party than any other group. They paved the way, you dumbasses in America, because if education showed you where to vote and you didn't go that way, problems with you. Number 2 on my list of Black progressive males you should be following. And if you are a LeBron fan that's not objective, stay away from this guy's sports channel. But if you are a LeBron fan that is objective and you understand the plight African Americans are suffering in this country, you need to go check out my man Charles Tobasi. I've been saying Tobasi, like go ski in Park City, Utah, but it's Tobasi. He puts out great videos, folks. And when I say great videos, it's nothing exciting about him. But what is good about him is, number one, he's got a damn New York accent. Now, I know my accent is Southern and shit, and I don't give a damn. And he doesn't give a damn what y'all think about his accent. His videos are so to the point, so factual, so impassioned that you can't help but not watch his sports commentary that he does on his sports channel, which is a little bigger than his political channel. But both are great. Give him a shot. Here is what he contributed to the mixtape of Black progressive men. Take a look.
And now we find ourselves in a situation where you have a regime that is actively working against the best interests of minorities in the United States. That is why I was so confounded when you had Latinos for Trump, these black MAGAs voting for. I really couldn't understand it. And if you listen to some of their reasoning at the time, you'd be like, what kind of cockamamie nonsense is this? Seriously. You had some blacks talking about, you remember, the Democrats are not doing anything for us, so therefore we're going to vote the Republicans. And I said to myself, what did the Republicans promise you? What did they promise you? Let me ask you, since Trump has been in office, what are the good things he's done? How has the black agenda moved forward? Black women unemployment has actually gone up under Trump. It's gone up. But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about how they have gone out of their way to target minorities.
Oh, I forgot to mention that to y'all. The most educated group of people in America have also become some of the highest unemployed. Make that make sense. Shout out to Charles Tobasi. He puts out great stuff. You guys need to definitely be following him. Now we're starting to get into the comedians on my list. Now, what you need to know about the comedians on the list, fascist regimes always go after comedians because comedians have a way of making things funny to get people to open their eyes to see how they've been blinded by society. Now, one of the cornerstones of this channel of mine is debunking the societal myths that have been put in place by white MAGA Republicans from the inception of this country. Breaking that shit. How it's a hypocrisy and a double standard for them that they don't want you to know. That's one of the cornerstones of this channel, along with social justice and showing you guys how capitalism has become corrupted because the guardrails have been dropped. This next brother on my list is funny as hell. And hell, he's a little darker skinned than me. And so for that, I hate him because I love my dark skin. I'm talking about the good brother comedian Godfrey, ladies and gentlemen. He puts out quality stuff. Let's take a look at him on this mixtape of black progressive males you should be following.
Meanwhile, back at racism headquarters, so there's this dude named Chud the Builder, right? He has a mustache, cowboy hat, and he records himself, and he goes around calling black people and shit, like, you know, and he always says, stop chimping out. He just decides to go on this rant because he goes by the free speech thing, like it's free speech. So he goes around. The first time he did it, it was talking to these black journalists, and he was going, "What's up, you huh? Look at him chimping out, fucking monkeys, ooga booga, ooga." He was doing all the racial slur. He's like a '70s bully, racist bully, using old hey, ooga booga, that dumb shit. He was doing hacky shit. And so, you know, he walks around, you know, trapping black people into talking to him, and he calls them. And all. Well, there was a situation. He picks certain people to call that to say that to. But when he was in front of a club and there was a bouncer, he called the dude a nigger while he was walking away. He didn't say it to his face because the black dude was like, "Yo, you got one more time to keep standing here right now." And he goes away and calls him when he walked away, though. You know, a lot of racist people that practice this, they usually talk when they feel they can beat a particular person, because the right black dude is going to meet him one day, for real. And I think also that he keeps like mace or a gun on him, because for somebody to be doing that and nobody's beat him the down yet, it's something's going on. And go, oh, he has mace, and so he goes around trolling black people because, you know, that's what's bugging him. He has, you know.
Godfrey is funny as hell, and he breaks down. He does something like this. He also does something like the racism files. And then he's got a few other he does. You need to follow him. But to his point about white dudes, here's another thing that separates progressive men from these white males that want you to think they're so fucking tough. These white men that behave like this guy he's talking about, they will never encounter or create conflict for black people unless they have an advantage. They've got to have a gun when you come with a pen. It's got to be 6 of them to 1.5 black dudes in order for them to get into chaos. Because deep down on the inside, they're pussies. They want you to think they're men's, but they're not. Anybody who feels like they need to have legislation to put women in their place does not believe that they're real men. And that's most of these white dudes running around here pretending like they're tough. They got to run around with a gun. You so fucking tough, why you need a gun? You got to run around with mace. You so damn tough, why you running around with mace? And the mantra of someone who's of peace, who is self-confident, they're not running around trying to pick fights. They're not running around trying to troll people in person, calling them niggers, calling them crackers, whatever you want to call them, rednecks. They're not doing that. And Godfrey does a good job of finding these stories and making them funny. So go check out Godfrey. He's on the list. Now, the person I saved last on my list is an OG in the game. And he's been on social justice since before we had social media. Hell, since probably before me and everybody on this list was a zygote in our daddy's penis. He's been doing it so long. But we'll get to him in a minute. The next person on my list, ladies and gentlemen, y'all always refer to this guy as DL the legend, but it's really this brother right here, DL Hugley, ladies and gentlemen. One of the kings of comedy, foremost one of the kings of comedy, legend in his own right, living legend at that. And he has been on his social justice from day one too. He's damn near like the last guy on my list. But he does a show called Uncertain, where he not only displays his abilities in comedy, but he also displays his ability as a historian, as someone who didn't get formal education. Here's a clip from his show, folks. Remember, everybody's link is in the description. This is DL on the mixtape.
They suss out selfish niggas like pigs pick truffles. You can talk about the Boyce Watkins, the Dr. Umars, you can talk about or the Charlemagne's, but earlier in the 60s and 70s, they used the Jim Browns, the Sammy Davis Jr., they used those people. Look at what happened as a result. Nixon had a cadre of people like that. What happened to black people? It was the war on drugs. When Reagan used black people, what happened to them? They became the symbol for welfare. You didn't have the foresight to know this man would be detrimental to us. I don't respect anything else you have to say.
You can't blame Stevie Wonder for not seeing it coming.
No.
You know what?
He already won't let me on the radio here, so I ain't gonna help.
God rest the God. Well, you can't blame Ray Charles either, ladies and gentlemen. God rest his soul. And to my boy DL, folks, the measure of a real man, hell, the measure of any real human being is when you fuck up, being able to apologize and be sincere about it. DL has some comments about Kamala Harris because he didn't know her as well as he should. And if you took his comments the wrong way, you would think that he was trying to tell you not to vote for Kamala. He goes to the DNC, does a speech in front of millions of people. And you know what he did in front of those millions of people? He admitted where he was wrong and he apologized. How often do you hear MAGA men do that? If you're not apologizing as a man for shit you done wrong and you know you done wrong, you're not a real man. You're not a real human being. You're a punk. You're a pussy. You're in aisle number 7, the Piggly Wiggly, Ready Whip. You have no business commenting or being involved in policy. Because if you can't discern to say sorry, why are we letting you take process and making life decisions with policy for other people? So shout out to this guy, DL Hugley, man. Love this brother. You'll see me stitch all these guys in my videos all the time. There are links in description. Last, ladies and gentlemen, on the Black Progressive Male mixtape, he's last, but he's definitely not least. My big brother, Country Row, so you know, Roland Martin, ladies and gentlemen. He's been rolling with social justice, trying to help those self-hating white people that vote against their own interests on a day-to-day basis just because they don't want to see minorities and women. Hell, I don't even want to say get ahead of them, just catch up with them. They are so self-hating that they would rather be in a house with them and minorities, see the house burn up, and their asses get burnt too, just to ensure minorities don't even get to have the same comforts they have. And trust me, we don't want the comforts of getting our asses burnt up in the house with y'all. But he's been fighting for them anyway. So here he is on the mixtape, my big brother, Roland Martin, country boy, just like me. Take a look at Roro.
I'm telling you, I have been saying to black people, this is a declaration of war. What we should see is the largest black voter mobilization effort since the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965, as well as since the presidential election of Obama in 2008. The only way to battle this, the only way to beat them is to destroy them, crush them at the ballot box. We must overwhelm the ballot box. That means not 65% or 70% of eligible black voter turnout. No, it needs to be 80, 85, 90, 95%. They must feel the wrath of black voters at the ballot box.
I agree. It's got to be too big to rig, ladies and gentlemen. But here's the problem. And I'm like Charles Barkley when it comes to pointing out the problems. We've got to have candidates that are going to be progressive. We have got to have candidates, regardless, we need to vote. So don't think I'm saying don't show up. If it's a Democrat, show up. But we also need to have these Democrats fired up for the candidates they're voting for. He mentioned how people turned out for Barack Obama, who by all means was more of a centrist than a progressive. But of course, white America painted him as a strong leftist when it was just the fact that he was black. We need people like Mamdani. We need to get rid of these AIPAC Shakur folks that are propped up by AIPAC and lobbies like that. We need to get rid of that shit. We need people who are going to get in here and who are going to say, when we get to power, we are going to not only prosecute Donald Trump and the administration, but their asses is going to jail for war crimes, Epstein files, for letting folks off like the Oath Keepers who tried to insurrect the capital of these United States, and then Donald Trump pardoned their asses. Did we forget about Doge? Have we forgotten about all the minority things that have been cut because of the, take the Voting Rights Act, for example. The Supreme Court is wrong. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. They're wrong. And we need candidates that are going to stand up and say, we're prosecuting their asses. So ladies and gentlemen, post your comments below. Let me know if you watch any of these brothers on this mixtape. I'm calling it Mixtape Black Progressives Volume 1. There's going to be a Volume 2 with some other guys I follow. And ladies, there's going to be a Mixtape Volume 1 of the ladies. Post your comments. Let me know what you think.